Do you ever feel like you were given a different rule book for life than everyone else? Like you're out here playing a complex strategy game while the people around you are just kicking a ball around in the dirt? If you're an INFJ, that thought probably stings because you've lived it every damn day. It's like you can see 10 steps ahead in the game, but nobody else even realizes there are steps. You pick up on every detail, the shift in someone's tone, the silence between words, the tension humming under the surface. You don't just hear people, you read them. And while that sounds like a gift, most days it feels more like a curse. Because you're not only playing your own game, you're playing everyone else's too. The truth is, being an INFJ isn't just about being rare or special. It's about being misunderstood at a level that can get damn lonely. People think you're quiet, but your mind is louder than a stadium. They think you're distant, but really you're just protecting yourself from being drowned in everyone else's chaos. They think you're idealistic, but they don't see that your ideals are the armor that's kept you alive. So let's get real, my INFJ friend. Being you is complicated as hell. And in this video, I'm going to lay it bare. The 5 core struggles that make your life feel like it's always lived on hard mode. Not to romanticize it, not to sugarcoat it, but to finally name it. Because sometimes the deepest relief comes not from fixing, but from knowing you're not the only one carrying this invisible weight. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt like people just don't get how exhausting it is to be wired like this? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and I promise I'll reply. Because if no one else sees you, I damn well do. Now let's get into it. 1. The curse of being the rarest type. Being an INFJ sounds almost glamorous on paper. The rarest type, a title that implies uniqueness, depth, and subtle brilliance, but in reality, it often feels less like a gift and more like a curse. Like being a ghost in a crowded room, your presence somehow both matters and goes unnoticed. You exist, and yet you are invisible. People might sense that you're different, even magnetic in subtle ways, but when it comes to understanding you, truly seeing you, they fumble. They don't know the language you speak, and sometimes neither do you. You've likely been on the receiving end of phrases that sting even when they were meant casually. You're too intense. You think too much. Why do you care so damn much? Each one isn't just a passing comment. Each is a reminder of the distance between you and a world that celebrates surface-level ease over profound understanding. It chips away at you, not because you doubt your own worth, but because it reinforces a feeling that has probably shadowed your entire life. I don't belong here. And here's the bitter truth. Being rare doesn't mean special. Being rare often means being alone. It means walking through life like a translator without a language, able to understand everyone else, but no one truly able to understand you. You crave depth, yet most conversations skim the surface. You crave authenticity, yet society constantly rewards masks, performative smiles, and convenient compromises. You crave connection, yet your soul requires something far more profound than casual acquaintances or polite nods. This rarity can feel like both a gift and a burden. Your insights are sharper than most. Your empathy deeper than most. Your awareness almost uncomfortable for those who aren't ready to look beneath the veneer. And that creates isolation. Not because you failed, but because the world often moves at a pace too shallow for your spirit. And so you learn to move through life with quiet vigilance, observing, listening, decoding, yet longing for a mirror that reflects the real you. But here's a question for you, my INFJ friend. When was the last time you felt completely unseen, even while standing right in front of people who claim to know you? When did you realize that the rarity that defines you might also be the source of your deepest loneliness? Consider the spaces where you've had to shrink to fit in. How much of that shrinking cost you your joy, your energy, and your sense of belonging? And if you could, how would you reclaim the authenticity that your rarity deserves? Being the rarest type isn't a life sentence, it's a calling to navigate the world with depth, to preserve your integrity, and to find those rare souls who don't just see you, they get you. And while the journey can feel lonely, the truth is your rarity is what makes your presence a force others can never forget. 2. The emotional sponge syndrome. Here's the truth. You're not just empathetic, you're absorbent. You walk into a room and soak up the emotions hanging in the air like smoke. Joy, grief, anger, you take it all in. You carry it home, replay it, process it. Hell, sometimes you feel someone else's feelings more strongly than they do. But here's the cost. When you're always the sponge, you rarely get to be the stone. You rarely get to let someone else absorb you. And over time, that imbalance leaves you exhausted, scattered, maybe even resentful. It's not that you want to carry everyone's emotions, it's that you can't turn it off. Your nervous system is tuned to frequencies most people ignore. And while that gives you compassion others can't fathom, it also leaves you raw. Tell me now, who in your life drains your energy the most without even realizing it? And how would it feel to finally put that weight down? 3. The perfectionism trap. For INFJs, perfectionism isn't merely about polished work or flawless execution. It's about the idea of a spotless self. You push yourself toward a version of yourself so precise, so exact, that failure doesn't feel like a mistake, it feels like a betrayal. Not to the world, not even to others, but to your own vision, your own standards, the very essence of your purpose. Each misstep echoes internally, as if the universe itself is questioning whether you're living up to your potential. And here's the brutal truth. You don't only hold yourself to these invisible standards. You hold the people around you to them too. Not because you're judgmental or cold or critical, but because you see the unseen. You see what they could be, what they are capable of, and when they fall short of that latent promise, it doesn't feel like disappointment. It feels like grief. You grieve the wasted potential, the opportunities never seized, the lessons ignored. And often the weight of this grief sits quietly in your chest, invisible to anyone who hasn't walked in your shoes. Perfectionism is a double-edged sword. On one side, it pushes you to create beauty, meaning, and integrity that others can only admire from afar. On the other, it isolates you. Because how can anyone meet the standards you hold so sacred? How can anyone, or even yourself, live in a world that demands so much of every thought, word, and action? That's why perfectionism can feel like a lonely cross to bear, dragging alongside the INFJ's natural empathy and emotional depth. And yet, here's where the paradox sharpens. The perfectionism that drives you can also cage you. It robs you of spontaneity, it robs you of joy. It robs you of the sweet, messy humanity that makes life worth living. You find yourself silently asking, what if I released even 10% of this pressure? What if I allowed a mistake to exist without punishment? What if imperfection became a teacher rather than a tormentor? What would it mean to surrender a small fraction of that pressure and let yourself exist, messy, human, and beautifully unfinished? Perfectionism is not a flaw. It is a reflection of the magnitude of your heart and mind. But even the strongest heart needs space to rest. Your brilliance doesn't require flawless execution. It requires presence, vulnerability, and the courage to let life's imperfections shape you, not shatter you. 4. The social chameleon exhaustion. People think you're introverted, but the truth? You can blend into almost any crowd, any environment, any vibe. You study the room, you shift your tone, you mirror energy. You're the master of social alchemy. But here's the catch. Being a chameleon is exhausting. You end up building connection after connection while secretly starving for authenticity. Everyone thinks they know you, but it's just the mask you wore for them. And after a while, you wonder, if everyone sees a different version of me, does anyone see the real me at all? That thought, that'll eat you alive if you're not careful. Tell me, when was the last time you walked away from a conversation feeling like you gave away too much of yourself to fit in? 5. The need to fix everyone's problems. This is the one that cuts the deepest. The one that whispers in the dead of night, echoing louder than any external voice. You don't just see pain, you feel it bone deep, like it has somehow become part of your own nervous system. You don't just notice cracks in someone's life, you feel compelled to fill them. You can't stand to watch someone flounder, even if it means risking your own footing. You have an uncanny radar for suffering, and it drives you toward it like a moth to fire. But here's the bitter truth, my INFJ friend. No matter how vast your heart is, you are not responsible for everyone's healing. You can guide, You can hold, you can love, but you cannot wade into rivers that others refuse to cross themselves. You cannot carry souls who refuse to take your hand. And yet, time and time again, your nature pushes you to try. You push yourself past exhaustion, past boundaries, past the edge of your own emotional cliff. The compulsion to fix everyone else often leaves you hollow, drained, and, dare I say it, even resentful. You may feel guilt for stepping back, shame for saying no, or frustration at the world's slow march toward understanding. And in the process, you sometimes lose sight of yourself, the very self that is capable of loving, healing, and creating change if only it is given the space to breathe. Here's the paradox of being an INFJ. Your empathy is your superpower, but it can also be your trap. The same energy that allows you to intuitively feel someone else's pain can make you forget to protect your own soul. You deserve care too, and learning to honor your limits isn't selfish, it's survival. Every time you overextend, you chip away at your own well-being, and slowly, the river you're trying to cross for others becomes a torrent you can barely swim through yourself. What did that painful experience teach you about where your love should be given and where it must be held back? Remember, guiding someone is an act of sacred love. Carrying them is not your duty. Protecting your energy, your heart, your mind is not betrayal, it's wisdom. You are the lighthouse, not the ocean. You illuminate the way, but you are not the sea itself. Your ability to see, feel, and guide is rare, beautiful, and powerful. But the greatest mastery lies in knowing when to step back, when to let others swim their own river, and when to protect your own shore. That is how you love fully without losing yourself. So here we are. We started with a question: do you ever feel like you were given a different rulebook for life than everyone else? And now you see, being an INFJ isn't just rare. It's complex, it's messy, it's beautiful, and it's heavy as hell. You carry the curse of rarity, the sponge of empathy, the trap of perfectionism, the exhaustion of chameleoning, and the endless pull to fix. And yet, you're still here, breathing, learning, loving, showing up for a world that rarely shows up for you. My NFJ friend, that's not weakness. That's strength disguised as solitude. That's resilience in its purest form. I want to hear your truth. Which of these 5 resonated the deepest with you? Drop it in the comments. I'll read every single one because you deserve to be heard. And if this spoke to your soul, subscribe for more INFJ content that doesn't water you down but dives into the marrow of your being. And share this with another INFJ who needs the reminder: you are not too much, you are exactly enough. Walk tall, protect your fire. And never forget, your complexity is not a curse, it's your crown.